You've been told forgiveness sets you free and that it's healing. But what if that's the very thing keeping you stuck? Sometimes forgiveness isn't healing. Sometimes it's self-betrayal, dressed up as maturity. And deep down, you know exactly what I mean. You're often told that holding on to anger is poisoning you. But what if I told you, the real danger isn't holding a boundary, it's forgiving too soon. Just because someone hurts you doesn't mean you owe them peace. And sometimes, not forgiving isn't a sign of weakness or wickedness. It's the healthiest thing you can do. Agitating the pain of forgiving people. You've done it before. I mean, smiling through a text that made your stomach twist and said, "It's fine," when it wasn't. You told yourself, "I should let it go. I'm better than this." But then you lie awake at 2 a.m., replaying the moment they dismissed you, betrayed you, used and probably dumped you like waste tissue. You apologize for being too sensitive. You force yourself to move on, but the resentment lingers like a bruise under the skin. And here's the worst part. You blame yourself for not being enlightened enough to forgive. You even forgave your ex because you thought it would give you closure. But all it did was teach them you'll tolerate disrespect, again and again. You forgave your parents for the childhood they never owned up to. But they're still pretending nothing happened, like you imagined the pain. You keep telling yourself to let it go. But every time you see them living unbothered, your stomach aches. And your silence becomes a slow form of self-erosion. You're not bitter. You're just tired of pretending your scars don't ache. And for once, you want to stop making peace with people who keep waging war on your boundaries. Do all these sound familiar? That pain isn't a flaw. It's feedback. Debunking the myth that forgiveness brings peace of mind. Since the creation of man, forgiveness has been marketed like a miracle drug, a moral high ground, a cure-all, a sign of emotional strength. All this isn't about forgiveness itself, but about what it means. We've turned forgiveness into a moral obligation, like it's your job to absolve people who choose never to be accountable. But here's the simple twist. Forgiveness isn't always healing. Sometimes, it's suppression, a way to avoid the uncomfortable truth that some people don't deserve a second chance or a first apology. Forgiveness is not a virtue when it costs you your reality and sanity. Stanford research found that when people forced forgiveness without processing their pain, their cortisol levels increased. That's right. Pretending to forgive can stress your nervous system more than holding a grudge. Because real healing doesn't start with letting go. It starts with feeling. Besides, a 2011 study published in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine found that people who forced forgiveness for unresolved trauma reported higher levels of anxiety and lower self-esteem than those who chose non-forgiveness paired with boundary setting. You've been guilted into grace, and it's costing your sanity, revealing the truth about forgiveness. The question now is there any truth about forgiveness? Yes, there are countless of them. Forgiveness isn't an obligation you owe the world. It's a gift you may choose to deliver to someone or keep for yourself. Forgiveness isn't always the path to healing. Sometimes it's a shortcut to repression. When the wound has air, when the truth has been spoken. Until then, not forgiving isn't bitterness, it's self-respect. Here's why not forgiving can be the healthiest move you can ever make. But before that, just imagine waking up tomorrow with one new tool to beat over forgiveness, build better habits, or unlock your focus. That's what's coming. Subscribe now and make progress part of your daily routine. Let's break down the 7 reasons forgiving is unhealthy. The first reason, forgiveness isn't required for healing. Most people think not forgiving makes you remain stuck in the past. But psychology shows the opposite. A 2020 study in the Journal of Traumatic Stress found that survivors who delayed forgiveness reported higher emotional regulation and self-worth. Why? Because they honored their pain first. Healing has nothing to do with erasing the past. It simply integrates it. Okay, let's look at it from this perspective. Just think of your mind like soil. You wouldn't plant seeds in poisoned ground. You'd let it rest so the toxins break down. Then and only then, something new can be planted on it. The second reason, forgiveness without accountability is just enabling. You're not healing. You're buffering the pain with silence. You're swallowing fire just to keep the peace. Psychologist Dr. Janice Abrams-Spring calls it cheap forgiveness. Forgiveness given too quickly, with no real remorse or repair. You deserve better than a reset button that leaves you bleeding. The third reason, not forgiving is how your nervous system protects you. Trauma is both emotional and neurological. When you relive the hurt without resolution, your brain triggers the same fight or flight response as if it's happening again. Forgiveness isn't a magic off switch. Sometimes, staying angry is your brain's way of saying, I'm not safe yet. The fourth reason, anger isn't toxic, it's intelligent. Anger is data. It tells you something precious was violated. Suppress it, and you lose the compass that helps you say never again. Harvard psychologist Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett found that emotions like anger increase problem-solving accuracy when acknowledged, not silenced. The fifth reason, some people don't deserve closure because they don't believe they did anything wrong. Have you been trying to forgive someone who gaslights you? That's not healing. That's spiritual bypassing. Forgiveness only works when there's ownership. Otherwise, you're doing all the emotional labor alone. The sixth reason, you can move on without forgiving. Let's be clear. Healing and forgiving are not the same thing. Healing means releasing yourself from the grip of the past. It doesn't mean granting access or pretending nothing happened. Some wounds need distance, not closure. And that's okay. Practical steps to grounded and healthy living. If you're not ready to forgive, here's a 3-step practice to keep you grounded and healthy. Step 1. Name the harm, in detail. Write it down. Get honest. Stop minimizing it. Step 2. Set a hard boundary. No more vague, I wish you well, just this is what I need to feel safe, and that means distance. Step 3. Focus on reconnection, not with them, but with yourself. Start rebuilding the trust that you can protect yourself. You've been taught that forgiving means you're the bigger person. But maybe being the bigger person isn't the goal here. Maybe the goal is to stop betraying yourself for the sake of appearing whole. As you may know, forgiveness can be fulfilling, but it's not a requirement for peace. Sometimes peace begins when you say, I don't forgive you, but I release you for my energy, my future, and my inner life. That's not hatred, that's authentic and undiluted healing. And you're allowed to heal your way. A letter to the one who's still hurting. If you're watching this, chances are you've been told to let go one too many times. Maybe you've even started to doubt your own pain and are asking yourself, am I overreacting? Shouldn't I be over this by now? I want you to understand this. Your hesitation to forgive doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. It means you loved, trusted, hoped, and someone didn't honor that. And that's not something to rush through. Grief isn't a sign of weakness. It's proof of depth. The deeper the connection, the longer the ache. And some wounds don't scar over. They become part of your story. So if you're still angry, if you still feel the sting when you hear their name, if you haven't found it in you to say I forgive you, I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to say you're allowed to protect your peace, even if it means protecting it from them. You're allowed to heal at your own pace, even if it takes years. You're allowed to put yourself first, even if it makes you difficult in someone else's narrative. Because healing isn't about becoming nice again. It's often about becoming true. If this resonated, I'd love to hear your story, not only in the comments, but also in your journal. Write down one moment you forgave too soon. Once you silenced your pain to maintain peace. Then ask yourself, what would it feel like to honor that hurt instead of rushing past it? And if you want more of these honest conversations, where we question the rules we've been taught about healing, success, and self-worth, hit subscribe. Not because you need fixing, but because you deserve a space that sees you exactly as you are. You don't have to forgive to be free. You just have to choose yourself first, even once, especially once. Your boundaries are not barriers. They are acts of love. Subscribe and watch our next video on 7 reasons you should learn to love yourself first.